Young Yunus grew up during a politically volatile and culturally confusing time in the history of the subcontinent. The Second World War had started in 1939, and the British, who still maintained their grip on India, had joined the fight against the Nazis in Europe. As a Bengali nationalist, Yunus was happy to see Bangladesh appear on the world map, and as an economist, he was keen to help his new country reorganize its crumbling economic infrastructure, but, according to Yunus, the country's leaders were not very keen to utilize his skills. While he was busy teaching economics, Yunus observed the harrowing impact of abject poverty on those who lived in the villages adjacent to the university campus. He could not understand why the locals did not make better use of their agricultural land, which remained uncultivated season after season. He explored different ways in which he could improve the economic condition of the local villagers. As a result, he established small farming and irrigation projects to improve the use of the local agricultural land. While working on these projects, he discovered that the wealthier farmers tended to dominate their poorer counterparts. Yunus's failure to address the root causes of poverty made him rethink his research methodology and objectives. During his study and research, and also drawing on his practical experience of devising and delivering small agricultural projects, Yunus came up with the idea of lending small amounts of money to the very poor in order to encourage them to set up small businesses. The borrower was required to repay the sum, plus a nominal amount of interest, over a period of time out of the profits generated from the business. Pioneered by Yunus in 1976, this method of lending small sums of money to some of the world's poorest people became known as the system of microcredit. Since the conventional financial system refused to give loans to people who had no fixed assets, he felt the poor and the destitute could never obtain loans from the banks because they had no valuables or collateral. So, the question of where the poor could go to obtain small loans needed to be resolved. In his attempts to obtain bank loans for the poor, Yunus discovered that conventional banks operated on a principle which automatically excluded the very poor from receiving any form of credit. This prompted him to set up the Grameen village bank experiment in 1977 in order to provide credit to the poor, especially to the women, in rural areas of Bangladesh. By giving out such loans, he hoped to encourage women to set up small-scale businesses and self-help ventures, and in so doing, enable them to stand on their own 2 feet and gradually improve their socio-economic condition. In 1979, he was granted a 2-year break from teaching at Chittagong University. He replicated the Grameen Bank scheme in a deprived part of Tangail, which is located on the outskirts of Dhaka, the capital of Bangladesh. When the experiment proved a success, Yunus and his colleagues deployed the microcredit self-help program in other areas of Tangail. From then on, the Grameen Bank gradually expanded across rural Bangladesh, so that today it has more than 9 million borrowers across Bangladesh. The system of microcredit pioneered by Yunus back in the 1970s has not only proved to be a great success in rural Bangladesh, the concept has since been successfully replicated in more than 100 countries around the world, including the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, France, Australia, Malaysia, China, India, Pakistan, Norway, Finland, and across South America. The bank crossed the first billion-dollar mark in March 1995, about 18 years after it was formally inaugurated in 1976, by lending $27 to 42 people. Since then, the Grameen Bank has expanded so rapidly that today it disperses more rural loans each year than all other Bangladeshi banks put together. It has also established more than 2,500 branches across rural Bangladesh, serving no less than 8.4 million borrowers on their doorsteps in more than 80,000 villages. And with a workforce of nearly 25,000, the bank currently distributes more than $20 billion in loans to over 8 million borrowers, with 97% of them being women. Yunus has been awarded scores of prestigious international prizes and awards, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006, the Presidential Medal of Freedom from the United States in 2009, and the Congressional Gold Medal in 2010, as well as 50 honorary doctorates from universities around the world. In 2012, Yunus was also named by the Fortune magazine as one of the greatest entrepreneurs of modern times.